Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome here to the Wine with Jimmy channel. Delighted that you could stop by to this wine educational channel, which is designed to help those of you studying the world of wine, but also those who just want to learn lots more in detail about the wonderful world of wine. So this series here is on the wines of the world. That's the D3 section for the WSET level 4. That's the diploma. We're looking here at central Italy, series 3, the Marche, and we are looking at a multi-part series. Here's the wonderful Ascoli Piceno, which is in the southern part of Marche. It's a beautiful area. It's a name of both a city and also the province. And it's known for stunning architecture that you can see there, utilizing the beautiful Travertine marble sourced from the nearby mountains. And of course, the name's important. If you've watched my first video, we talked about the Piceni tribe. And here, Ascoli Piceno. It was founded by this tribe originally. The town lies at the confluence of the Tronto River and the small Castellano River, and it's surrounded on three sides by mountains, which is quite dramatic, really quite wonderful. So this is really a lovely area. It's often undiscovered, but really lovely to get used to. So yes, it's Marche series. Yes, it is a multi-part series. This is part 2 of 7. This video and the previous video that no doubt you have watched is available as free content in the world of YouTube, but parts 3 through to 7 are only available on my e-learning portal. That's over at winewithjimmy.com. Lots of wonderful exclusive video content and resources to help you with your studies. Well worth checking out, of course. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, please do get in touch. We like to hear from you. You can do so by commenting on this video below. And make sure that you click like as well. That helps us. And click subscribe. That helps you. It means you get all of our regular updates, 2 a week on the world of YouTube. And you can also, if you are this way inclined, get in touch by the world of social media. You'll see all of the handles at the bottom of every slide. Let's talk about then the climate and grape growing found here in Marche generalizations. So first of all, the land suitable for viticulture is on the low hills that are rising from the coast. And they go up to a little bit in some higher zones as well towards the Apennine zones. Broadly Mediterranean climate here with hot summers and little rainfall in the summer months. So it's quite classic, like this picture. Rolling hills and quite warm. But there are some areas which are more inland. And these inland areas, which if you take Ancona, which is the coastal city, sitting really in the middle coastal part of Marche, and then head west, which is going towards the Apennine Mountains, you will find more continental zones in character, like the Verdicchio Dei Castelli, for example, the more heavy metal Verdicchio. Sorry, had to be done. No doubt I'll drop that joke later in the series as well. Typically, you have dry autumns in these areas, and of course, there are a bit more of a marked difference between seasonality here as well in those continental inland zones. Then we've got the topography here. We've mentioned this a little bit, but the territory of Marche is entirely composed of hills and mountains. In the background, you've got the mountains of this picture, the Apennines, and in the foreground, you've got the rolling hills here. Marche can be divided topographically into 3 diagonal bands of mountains, hills, and coastlines. So if you imagine that Marche comes down the east coast, it's kind of like a rectangle that's slightly at an angle. The one which is far west is the mountains, in the middle is the hills, and then there is the coastline, but the hills go down to the coastline area. So each of those bands run the entire length in the region from north to south. and they are very, very much populated by what you see in this picture. Very typical, with mountain backdrop and hills. And the hills do run, for the most part, all the way to the coastline. Now, here we'll find a number of short rivers which start their life off in the Apennines and then head their way to the Adriatic Sea. They pretty much all of them run in some way, shape, or form from the west to the east. And the most important are things like the Foglia, the Metorro, the Essino, which is very important for Castelli de Jesi, Potenza, Chienti, and Tronto. Tronto important down in Ascoli Piceno that I mentioned a little bit earlier. Here, by the way, this picture is of the Terre di Offida DOC, which is a very important Offida. Offida also makes DOCG wines for things like its Rosso, Pecorino, Passarina. One other thing I want to mention is really a real dominating geographical feature on the coastline, very close to Ancona. And this is Monte Conero, okay, also known as Monte d'Ancona as well, so d'Ancona. It's the highest and most spectacular cliff on the Italian peninsula's eastern side. You see it here in this picture. The name Conero actually comes from the Greek name komaros and indicates a strawberry tree, which is common on the slopes of this mountain. It reaches 572 meters in elevation and is one of two important promontories along this Adriatic coast. It's probably the most beautiful, though. And you can see you've got the limestone influences here as well, and lovely beaches down at the bottom of that area. Geology here. So as in Tuscany, the soils are mainly limestone and clay. In fact, that's what you've got here. This is clay here in this picture. This is actually a picture I've got of vineyard land being prepared. So there is a big trench being dug here. And you'll notice that we have this wonderful clay soil, and you will find little bits of limestone in there as well. So it's a mixture of limestone and clay. This gives a good balance between our free draining capabilities and also water retention through drought months, like summer months, which can be possible. Clay is better at retention, and limestone is better than drainage. So it's a good sort of combination of those two soil types. The last thing to mention here is almost 20% of Marche's vineyards are farmed organically. So that's about 7% of Italy's total. It's a real stronghold for organic viticulture. And yes, this is a real key factor here that you find in, in the area. Excuse me. So that brings me to the completion of part 2 on climate and grape growing, which in fact was only a paragraph in your text. We're now moving on to some very key information around grape varieties. So we're going to be looking at Verdicchio and then Montepulciano and other varieties and appellations after that. These are only available to my subscribers of the e-learning portal over at winewithjimmy.com. Please do visit to have a look. If you do have any comments or questions, get in touch via the social media you see at the bottom of every slide. Or, of course, comment on this video below. It's great to hear from you, of course. And if you do find yourself in London, in the United Kingdom, don't be scared. Come and say hi. It'd be great to see you. We have a number of establishments. Come and see us for a class, a glass, or a bottle. I've been Jimmy Smith. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.